I was reading a thread on Reddit about this map, Yukon, and somebody in the replies in the comments said that they thought this map had the most depressing atmosphere in all of TF2, which really confused me. I mean, obviously any online game map is depressing when just you by yourself. Oh, that tree pops in. Yeah, this map is a really weird choice to call the most depressing in TF2. I love the that though. These bridges are cool. Okay. This is also a map I haven't seen in fucking years because this just never shows up in casual, and if it does, nobody votes for it. Maybe the depressing feeling the guy was talking about comes from this kind of thing where you're in the shadow of this cliff almost. You're very much down here, and it is pretty dark. It's more spooky than anything. It could also be this kind of lighting here. This what is that, fluorescent? It's a very dim map with these lights here. It only really applies to this part though. Well, this is a cool spot. I like this. Again, not a map I've seen in a long time, so I forget. Oh, that does look really cool. Look at that. The next person in the thread said Thunder Mountain, which is, I would say, a bit more understandable given the drab, like grey kind of skyboxes. I always thought this ceiling looked like soundproofing, but I guess it's just meant to be like sheet metal or something. I don't know, I've always found this map more cozy than depressing. Like, yeah, it's got the grey sky, it's very cloudy, but it's bright. Look how bright that is. Where's the sunlight coming from? Lots of cool, I've never noticed that before. Lots of cool things you see when you look around like this. Oh. That's thunder. I always thought this room up here was stage 1 spawn from some weird angle, but it's not. It's just a blank room. I guess I can understand finding this depressing, the way you're, again, kind of like with Yukon, you're at the bottom of this big kind of bowl, essentially. I've always loved this part of the map with this bridge, and you can look over there and then it's like a camper van and the water tower. Oh, I've always loved this little cubby over here as well. No reason to go in here, so no one ever does. I just like how it looks. I don't think this is more depressing than Yukon, and I barely thought Yukon was that depressing. I'm sure to some people this map very much is, mainly because of the, oh, look at that, mainly because of the sky being so grey and dark. Or maybe it's just because well, maybe I just don't find this map depressing because, you know, I played it so much in my formative years, and so it's just a comforting place for me. She fucking yells over me. Great. That's weird. There's two voice lines that talk over each other. So next on the list is Gravel Pit. When somebody said this in the thread, the original Yukon poster replied and said, what did they say? Gravel Pit is still orange and kind of Badlandsy like the other TF2 maps, whereas Yukon is just grey. I don't think Yukon is kind of a depressing grey. I think it's just a very natural kind of earthy. Like, I don't see much of a difference between this and what Yukon looked like. The person who mentioned Gravel Pit for the list mentions things like the dark sky, factory smoke, the gravel, you know, all the rust everywhere. And they said it makes them think of the word suicide. Do you think the word suicide when you play Gravel Pit? The smoke isn't even that big. Look, come on. That makes you think suicide? That little... Well, okay. Well, I've never noticed those before. How have I never noticed those before? It definitely does have a kind of industrial rot kind of vibe to it. And I like stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, when you look at the map, you know, from this specific spot, it's not the happiest. It's not sunshine or anything. It's pretty grim. That pipeline also strikes me as quite a depressing feature for some reason. I don't know why. It could be the rust, like the person mentioned, maybe the rickety wood. I'm really not sure why that in particular is so eye-catching to me, but it just is. Like the Rust Belt in the US, you know? Like this old industrial place has just been left to rot. Somebody mentioned Sawmill. Yeah, I mean, Sawmill probably goes here for the same reason as a map like Thunder Mountain. Just the very grey skies, and in this one it's actually raining, which adds to it. That's very surface level stuff though, grey skies and rain. This is not a map I can really find depressing just because I love the kind of lush nature of it all. I always love this little cave that goes behind the waterfall, it's so fucking cool. I guess maybe there's an element of feeling locked in by these big fences on either side. Like you're trapped here, you can't leave, like it's some sort of camp or something. But maybe I'm just looking too far into it. So we're done with the thread now. That's all the maps that were mentioned below Yukon. But this is just a personal pick of mine, is Granary. This map is so fucking depressing to me, and I don't really know why. I think it might be just all the dead grass everywhere. Maybe it's just how flat and empty everything outside the map looks. There's also a Rick May statue there I never noticed before. And there's the Meet the Soldier heads. I never knew that. What the fuck? How have I... Why is this platform here? The fuck is the point? What? There's something about places like this. Is it the shadows? The dead grass? I'm just... The bricks? I find bricks quite depressing. Just pure brick like that. This is interesting because it's a case where it's coming from my own feelings and not me trying to figure out where someone else's are coming from. Like with Yukon or Thunder Mountain or whatnot. It's undeniably a depressing map to me. But I really just... I can't put my finger on why exactly. Yeah, this hallway always gave me a certain vibe that I was never too fond of. It could be how fucking dark it gets, how packed it is, how it feels like you went to a crawl space. This leads to the chute, by the way. Again, we have this on blue side, this little ledge with stairs. Very, very strange decision. This part of the map in particular I find the least depressing, which does make me think the reason I find this map so depressing is because of the wide open spaces, like at the last points. This just looks really interesting, this whole area. Another map I've always personally found really depressing is Foundry, and I think this one probably goes without explanation as to why. There's fucking smokestacks everywhere. The middle point especially, it just feels so fucking bleak. I feel like this map was designed to be depressing. I mean, it's a Foundry, you know? Yeah, the blue side is notably more depressing than red, which makes sense because it's the color blue. This smokestack alone might win this map the most depressing map in TF2 award, like single-handedly. Holy fuck. I didn't realize how long those went on for. Jesus, I thought it was just one or two of them. It's about like 9 of them. This map gives me very kind of Half-Life 2 vibes. You know what I'm talking about. It could also be, I don't know why I've not mentioned this yet, just how unnatural the map is. There's no real nature elements in this map, like Sawmill, Thunder Mountain, Yukon, all those other maps. Even Granary. There was lots of nature. On this map, there's none. It's nothing but man-made, industrial... You know. Eat my dust. So Foundry is probably the most depressing map in all of TF2, but I still want to talk about Coldfront, just because I think it definitely deserves a mention. This map has always just felt so fucking desolate and empty to me. That's really pretty. That is really nice to look at. I feel like even every time I play this map in like a full lobby, it feels desolate and empty, even with like 24 people. But something about this particular shot right here of being in this, you know, this warmth, this safety, while you have the harsh environment outside. I don't know. It does something to me. And that's weird to get from a TF2 map of all places. So yeah, that's a video I made. I feel like I need a conclusion or something, right? Nah, fuck it, no conclusion, end the video.